What's up, everybody? This is going to be a short video. Mainly, I just wanted to discuss what has been, in my experience, one of the main causes of many water leaks in RVs that I've seen that have had water leaks, and that is these little gaskets right here. I'm just going to use this pump as an example, simply because it's got the threaded fittings on it, and I don't really have anything else at hand right now. So, in my experience, I've fixed a lot of leaks, and 9 times out of 10, when it comes to a leaky pipe, a leaky line, it tends to be these little cone gaskets. Now, this one's still good, but you can see that it's got a little ring kind of around it, like, I don't know if I can get it to focus. You see it's got a bit of an indentation there. And that's from how they seat. They would seat into the end like that. And then they seal around the inside and around the outside here. So what the factories like to do typically, see, and I've taken the gasket out of here. So you put it back in. And what they like to do is really just crank these things on here as hard as they can. They get in there, and if it's got a little bit of a leak, they just get in and they tighten it, and they tighten it, and they tighten it, and tighten it, and tighten it until it's so tight, it just deforms the gasket. Now this is too tight, and they do not need to be this tight right here. See, I can't even loosen this with one hand now, I don't think. So that is way too tight to have these on. And I know it's a little counterintuitive, but the way that these seal is dependent on it not being extremely tight. They just have to be snug, because it will seal around this copper piece right here and around the outside edge. So if you've got a leak coming from this, Teflon tape won't help it. You're not even supposed to use Teflon tape with these fittings, because it doesn't work and can actually make things worse. And what happens is, because the gaskets get deformed, they leak, and the fitting will actually end up leaking back here where it's connected to the hose. And they will tend to leak right here, right where the fitting kind of like turns, spins, sort of thing. And that's where they'll end up leaking if it doesn't have a good seal. But like I said, these don't need to be extremely tight. You just turn it on there, get it on, and nice and snug, just like that. You know what? And you're still gonna feel a little bit of like play. It'll still feel loose. You can turn it a bit, but it's sealed, and it's squished the gasket in there. And if you squish these too much, they will leak and they need to be replaced. But it's an inexpensive fix, because the gaskets are typically only a couple bucks, if that, and you can buy them separately. Unless the fitting is cracked, there really is no need to replace the whole fitting. I have fixed hundreds of leaks caused by this issue on brand new trailers because of how tightly they put them on to the fittings. So, and I fixed hundreds of these just simply by replacing the gaskets and saving the customers tons of money in labor and everything, because to replace a gasket takes just a couple minutes, instead of having to potentially fight with the hose if it's not long enough, or make an extension, or if you've got to cut the end off, it's not always the easiest. So yeah, like basically these things do not need to be on here extremely tight, and if you're using Teflon tape on them, you shouldn't be, and it won't really help. So like if you've got a leak somewhere and you can't figure it out, if you find your pump is cycling on and off, start looking around behind cabinets or anywhere there's a fitting, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to find it's going to be a leaky fitting than it is anything else. Unless, of course, you've had extenuating circumstances like like if your lines froze, and even then, it's still sometimes a fitting. But it's mainly these gaskets that causes the leak. So if you've got a leak, check around. Outdoor showers, behind the outdoor showers, typically they tend to be a pretty big culprit, because they screw them on there tight and often at really weird angles. So if you find things that are at weird angles, sometimes like they get it right in there, and it's they've got like the hose, it'll be bent around, and they try to force it on there, and everything's crooked, and that's pretty much where the leaks come from. So if you guys are having troubles with your leaks and you can't find them, and your pump's cycling on and off, because they shouldn't cycle. They build pressure, and unless the pressure is lost, they don't come back on. So your pump shouldn't be cycling. And if it is, you got a leak somewhere, and it's a pretty good bet one of these little gaskets is the culprit, because somebody screwed it on way too tightly. So that being said, if you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. Thanks for watching, and if you find this type of stuff helpful, please subscribe, hit the bell, you know, so that you get notified when I make new videos. I don't have any consistent schedule right now, so it's just kind of what I think about, or you know, what people ask, or if there's any information that I see people struggling with. So thanks for watching. See you next time.